2 PCCs, 9mm, $600. Let's go.
If there's one word you've heard a lot lately, it would be PCC, Pistol Caliber Carbine. So hot right now. And now Ruger brings theirs to the table with a PC Carbine 19122. And I only throw the model number in there because if you look on their site, they got a lot of different models, and it's not this FUD looking one. It's this tactical looking one with all the parts on it. Stuff like this 6-position collapsible mag pull Mo stock and ergo pistol grip. It's also got interchangeable flared mag wells, so you can use Glock mags, not just those Ruger AR-9 mags that nobody has. To top that off, you got a 13-inch M-Lock handguard surrounding a 16-inch hammer forged barrel. Overall, on paper, this thing is ready to rock out of the box, but first, let's hear from the shooters how this thing really works.
So the first thing is, coming from an AR manual of arms, it's going to take some adaptation because I definitely had some issues. So this is the standard Ruger safety. So basically, you have to take your hand off fire control to put it back on safe. Moving between positions, it takes some getting used to. So moving forward to that, this is also related to the safety, the mag release. The mag release is reversible, so you can put it on the right or the left. Unfortunately, it's too far away from your fire control. So if you put it on the right, you have to use your index, or you put it on the left. If you put it in your left, as soon as you have to go reload, you have to take your hand off the handguard, flip it, and depress it on this side, on the left-hand side for a right-handed shooter. And moving forward to that, the handguard is a nice long M-Lock handguard. So we use the M-Lock to attach the Proctor sling here. And underneath the handguard, so this is one of the things you're definitely going to notice when you're actually handling the gun. The barrel is pretty heavy, the heavy profile, so the gun is actually really front heavy. And in addition to the barrel, the bolt is forward of the pistol grip, so that adds on to the heaviness. Take note, that's definitely something you have to get used to. So let's talk about how the gun feels under recoil and actually running the gun fast. But in order to do that, you got to really go back to how to run the gun reliably. Magazines are the #1 cause of reliability problems. And what we found out was the ETS 40 magazines do not work well with this gun. They cause stovepipes with both hot and soft ammo. However, just like it is shown right here, this Glock, OEM Glock, even with extended base pads, they all ran 100%. So one other thing that actually helps with that is the barrel has built-in feed ramps as opposed to the budget PCC that runs a lot of different ammo, even including hollow points. Now that the gun's running reliably, let's actually talk about running the gun fast. #1 is the trigger. So it's not great, even though the site says, hey, it's got a short, crisp reset. It is long. You know, my trigger finger's not that fast. It's doable if you practice it a little bit. As far as recoil is concerned, Ruger ships it with this heavy tungsten dead blow system, which helps with short cycle length. I was kind of surprised. First time I was like, hey, this gun returns to target very quickly. And it's their system that helps it. Out front, you notice it actually does not come with a muzzle brake. It just comes in a screw-in thread protector. So in my opinion, you don't need it in order to help run this gun fast.
So you've seen the Ruger, it looks good, but you'd rather have something with AR ergonomics and modularity. Well, check out this budget parts build PCC built around the Foxtrot mic components. First, you got a complete 9mm lower that, most importantly, takes Glock mags and contains a standard A2 grip and a mil-spec trigger to keep the cost down. Not the best, but okay. On the back, you can use any stock you want, although I like the Magpul Mo. Inside the upper receiver, you're going to find a Foxtrot mic 9mm bolt carrier group locked into a Foxtrot mic 16-inch ultralight barrel. Surrounding that, a 13-inch AIM Sports Key Mod handguard and topped off with a flash hider. So overall on paper, we've covered all the bases needed to start slinging some lead down range. So let's hear from the shooters how this budget parts build really works.
So starting in the back here, it actually doesn't come with the stock as a complete lower, which I think is pretty nice because then you can buy the stock that fits you. So I have a cheap option for mag pull on here. It does come with the grip. This is the standard mil-spec AR-15 grip. I would get rid of this immediately and slap on a grip that fits you. Up from there, we have normal AR-15 controls. So you obviously have the safety that's really easy to access, which I like a lot better than the Rugers. And then we have the standard mag release, you know, that you can reach with your index finger without having to sacrifice your sport hand position. Although if you are a left-handed shooter, the lower does not have a reversible mag release. The handguard I chose because I got a really good deal on this one. It was super cheap, but really you can buy any handguard you want and slap it on. Again, it's just AR-15 compatible. We have a cheap barrel also from Foxtrot Mike. This is a 16-inch barrel and just have a flash hider on the front. One thing about it is it's really slim profile, which is totally fine in a 9mm. And what that does is with the relatively light aluminum handguard and the barrel up front, also since the buffer is behind your grip, unlike the Ruger where all the weight's in front, this gun has very good balance and it's actually very easy to hold with one hand and maneuver around. It's lighter than the Ruger. It's pretty nice. So let's talk about some reliability issues that we discovered shooting this AR-9. So with extended OEM Glock magazines, even with our round nose ammunition, we found that occasionally you would get hang-ups where the round would be pushed into the casing due to that high spring force. And the reason that's happening is because the standard barrel feed cone on this cheap Foxtrot Mike barrel is relatively small. So even when your rounds are feeding and you don't get a malfunction, what they do is they actually skip off the corner of that feed cone and cause the round to dent a little bit. Now, occasionally it can hit just right so that that dent actually hangs up and you get a malfunction like the one seen here. Also, if you're planning on running hollow points, that exacerbates the issue, and we'd recommend just running standard round nose projectiles in order to mitigate that malfunction. That being said, we did find that with ETS 40 round magazines, like this one right here, and standard 33 round Glock magazines, we had no feeding issues, even though the rounds were still dented. On from there, how does this thing actually shoot? This basic Foxtrot Mike lower receiver comes with just a standard AR-15 mil-spec trigger, which is pretty bad, but the good news is that there are a lot of aftermarket options. It is possible to shoot relatively fast, but you're gonna have to practice a lot and use a little bit of technique. What I like to do is lighten my grip on the gun and kind of let the gun move back and forth in my shoulder, which almost assists my finger going back and forth on the trigger. So the recoil system on this gun consists of a relatively heavy bolt and then a heavy solid mass buffer, and then a heavy spring in the back. So that's to tame the pure blowback action of this 9mm platform. And what that results in is a recoil impulse that's pretty forceful because you have so much weight moving back and forth. And not only that, but unlike the Ruger, this has a very long cycle distance, almost as long as an AR-15. And with that heavy mass moving such a long way, it actually takes a while for you to perceive that your dot is still and back on target. The gun is relatively lightweight, like we talked about already, and that's pretty nice for handling and moving it around quickly, but it does result in a slightly more forceful recoil impulse. Out in front here, we just have a $9 A2 flash hider. I went with that because at a 16-inch barrel, you're really not gaining much from adding a muzzle brake or any kind of device up there. The first thing you should do if you're looking to get a better shooting gun is upgrade your recoil and buffer system.
All right, fellas, so in summary, this Ruger is for anyone who wants to get an out-of-the-box, factory-ready 9mm. It doesn't require any work, and it takes Glock magazines. Because of its recoil system, as you saw during the recoil portion, it's much more controllable, and it shoots flat due to that system. Some things to watch out for. Number one is, obviously, during the handling part, it's really front-heavy. You'll definitely notice that. And lastly, the aftermarket support for it is very small. Moving to this budget PCC one, this is definitely for those who want to put together their own PCC. This is an AR platform. There's tons of aftermarket accessories for it, and it has AR controls for those who are used to it. Some things to watch out for. This does have the standard barrel, so just make sure for maximum reliability you're running with round nose 9mm. It does have a little bit of harsh recoil, and additionally it's using a mil-spec trigger, so you know as mil-spec triggers are not that great, and that's also upgradable. Hopefully that's helped you out. We'll see you on the next one.
If you find this video useful, please like, comment, and subscribe, and visit us on Facebook as well. Lastly, if you're looking for ammo, check out our sponsor, Impact Ammo. A discount code is available in the description below along with all other equipment. We'll see you next time.